#Kangaroos podcast. Here is your host,
Dean Bassick.
Let's go, Kangas!
Davies Uniac getting early possessions. Cunnington for the dream start. Cunnington from 35! They come from everywhere and the party starts early for the number 10. What a wonderful, wonderful scene.
Welcome to another episode. My name is Dean Vassick. A good start. You can find me on X at #Kangaroos, Instagram #Kangaroos podcast. Tonight I am alone and just going to trial something tonight for next season, and it's called buy low or sell high. So we all know about how the stock market works. Ideally, you want to find something that is paying nothing and see it increase over time so you can make a lot of money, a bit like Bitcoin. If you got into that, good luck to you. So this podcast is about players that can improve on certain statistical categories. Like defenders, I'll look at intercepts, 1%ers, disposal efficiency, and so forth. And if I feel like they can improve, then I'll buy. If I feel like they're going to regress, then I'll sell. So we'll see how we go anyway. So it's four categories for each player, I think, that are relevant for each individual players. No rookies or players that haven't played a game either. So, with that, you were just going to say buy for each player because there's no floor and only ceiling like a Taylor Goad or the best pressuring small forward in the game, Geordie Payne. Once I'm going, it'll be easier, I'm sure, for you listeners to understand the concept. Feel free to join along while I am live. I had a question the other day from Bitster, Vito. Good guy, Vito. When can I know you are going live with the podcast? I think the best way to know when I'm going live, I try and tweet it, but not everyone is on X. But subscribe to my channel. Tell your friends to subscribe. Click the notification bell, and you get a notification on your phone or laptop or whatever saying that dickhead Dean is live now. I might jump in and tell him he has no idea or anything like that. That's something you guys can do. But, that's probably the best way to do it anyway. We'll move on from that. Anyways, let's get cracking with our first player. And I'm going to jump in order to start with, see how that goes. And the first player is Harry Sheezel. So I've gone right to the top, the creme de la creme. So for him, because he's going to play half forward this year, I assume half forward midfield, mainly in the forward half, forward 50. That's where he's going to do most of his damage, or forward pass centre. So last year he kicked 14.1 goals. I'm going to say he's going to go over that. 0.3 tackles inside 50. I think that's relevant for him this year. It's obviously quite low, so I expect a little bit of an increase there. So 0.5, 0.6 would be good. 29.8 possessions per game. Now, I expect that to be lower this year, only because he's not going to be playing half the year in across half-back. He might have the odd spell there where he'll need to go back there. Maybe there's an injury or someone's a bit, or we're struggling or something like that. And, yes, so I expect that to come down a little bit. Look, if he can average 29.8 possessions, then, that'll be fantastic. But I expect the quality of his possessions to be a lot better this year too, even if he only averages 25, 26. And 0.9 goal assists per game. So, I expect that to go higher as well. I expect him to average to 1.3, 1.4. So I think that'll go up a fair bit. So I think I've got pretty much three of the four categories. So if it's more than two, I'm going to go buy. If it's only two categories, then I'll sell. So, you want three out of the four. So I'm going to go buy Harry Sheezel. Not a hard one there to start with. The next player is Aidan Corr. So for him, defender, obviously, I've gone intercepts. So last year he averaged 4.8 intercepts per game. And I expect that to be around the mark. I think it's Aidan Corr. With Aidan Corr, there was a couple of years at GWS where he averaged over 6 intercepts per game. So I expect that to be still around the mark. So I'll go buy there. 6.3 one percenters. So 1 percenters are shepherds, tackles, spoils. So I expect that to be probably a little bit lower. I think that was a career high last year. So I expect that to be a little bit down. 84.8 disposal efficiency last year. So he does use the ball generally pretty well. He has been around the 80s throughout his career. So I expect that to be maybe just a little bit lower. Even if he gets to 80, 81, that's fine. 3.2 rebound 50s per game. So at the end of the day, we don't want the ball too much in his hands, but he is, quite a reliable kick. So overall, I've probably got 2 of the 4. So 3.2 rebound 50s per game. I expect him, to probably be around the mark, maybe a little bit high, 3.5 per game. So I'm going to go sell with Aiden Core. And feel free to jump in and let me know if you guys agree with me or if you guys think I'm, full of shit, and don't know what I'm talking about. But we'll see how this goes anyway. So hopefully you guys will get the concept of it. So next one is an easy one. Caleb Daniel only averaged 14 disposals per game last year. I think it was close to career low. So I expect that to be a lot higher. And there were a lot of games. I think there was 4 or 5 games I counted where he was a sub for the Bulldogs last year as well. 0.91 percenters, that'll be higher. There's no doubt about that. That was a career low. 1.8 intercepts per game. When he was playing for the Bulldogs a couple of years ago as a rebound defender, he was averaging 3-4 intercepts per game. So that'll go back up. 1.2 rebound 50s per game. That'll easily go back up. He's going to take our kickouts, I would have to think. He's going to be the link-up play in the back half. So that'll probably definitely go up. So, he's an easy buy for me. Next one is George Wardlaw, number 6. So I'm going buy with him. 19.1 disposals per game last year. Went up 5 from 14 in his rookie year. So I expect that to even go up to 22, 23 next year. 4.3 tackles per game. I expect that to even go up a little higher to maybe 5 plus. 4.8 clearances a game. That might be a bit, might be stretching it a little bit, but it'll be around the mark. And 4.3 scoring involvements per game. So I expect that to even go higher as well. So with him, I'm going to buy as well. Zane Duursma. So 7.5 disposals per game in his rookie year. That might go up a little bit. Now, we see the highlights with Zane Duursma taking some good contested marks. Almost took mark of the year. Was one of the contenders, one of the final contenders at the end. But it's more getting the ball where where it's not always taking contested marks. He's got to find a way, get the football, and just be a bit smarter reading the play as well. I expect that to go up to 10 plus next year. He might get a few minutes here and there in the midfield. You never know. He certainly showed signs in the VFL, but I wouldn't expect him to attend more than 3 or 4 centre bounces per game next year if he does go into there. 9 goals. He kicked 9 goals last year. I expect that to go up next year as well. I expect 1 per game. So if he plays 18, 19 games, I expect that to go to 18 goals. 2 goal assists for the year. So, it was only an average of, I think it was 0.1 or something like that. So he's going to get more goal assists. I think, he's definitely got a lot of quality and a lot of skill inside that forward 50. I expect him to get, at least half a goal assist per game almost. Or maybe about 0.4. 0.4 tackles inside 50. That's not the strongest part of his game. It generally isn't with rookies. That'll go up as well. So that's probably another easy buy. Bailey Scott, a bit more trickier. So 20.3 disposals per game. I think it went down from 22 the year before. I expect that to go back up to 21 and a half next year. 439 metres gained per game. That'll probably go up as well. I think that went down a little bit last year. So he seemed to get a lot more metres gained when he went up to the wing as opposed to the back half where he probably played the first half of the year. His best position is wing, and we all know that. 5.1 turnovers per game. So I want that to go down a little bit, at least 1 less a game. We know he's prone to turnover. I think he was like top 5 in the competition for turnovers per game. So I want him to go a little lower than that at 3.2 score involvements per game. So these are categories that are relevant to the wing position. So I expect that to stay around the mark, 3.2 score involvements per game. LDU. Now, you might not agree with this one. So I've gone sell with LDU. So his stock market price would be quite high because there's a lot of quality, one of the best at fairest. So he averaged 27.7 disposals per game. I expect it to be around 26, 27 next year as well. hopefully there's no distractions with ongoing contract talks. I mean, he has talked it up with his manager that there's work in progress. I want to stay, but until he signs it at dotted line, I'm not going to believe anything until it happens. 6.3 clearances per game. That will probably be around the mark. He's usually around 6 or 7 in his career. 3.9 tackles per game. Not a big tackler, as we know, more of an outside mid. So if you can stay around that mark, even 3.5, that's fine. And 5.1 scoring involves this game. He is involved with a lot of our scoring chains. I think he's got he's probably the team leader in that. So expect just might be a regression. Look, he'll still be a quality player. There's no doubt about that. But it might just be, like a little regression in certain statistics there. So we'll certainly we'll see how we go with him next year. But it's not going to be like where he's going to average 20 possessions per game and average 3 clearances a game or anything like that. He's not going to fall away that much. But there is certainly going to be a lot more attention next year on him. On field and probably off field as well if this contract talks to get stalled a little bit. Next one is Colby McKercher. So 23.8 disposals per game. I've gone by with him. I was expecting his disposals to go down a little bit, only because he's going to be playing further up the field, whether it's wing, midfield, or anything like that. It's going to be a lot harder for him to get disposals per game up there as opposed to the back half where he was, a link-up player. But he will only drop, probably 1.5 possessions per game, which is fine. 414 metres gained per game. If he goes up to the wing, that'll go up a lot higher because he'll be going, forward half and, launching balls inside forward 50, hitting targets, whereas opposed to in the back half, there's probably trying to control the tempo of the game, you're probably chipping a lot. So I expect the metres gained to go up a little bit. What's that? 3.6 tackles per game. That was actually pretty good for him last year as a defender. I expect that to probably drop down a little bit. 2.9 scoring balls a game. That's going to fly through the roof. I expect it to go to 4.5, especially if he's playing forward half the ball. It might even double. Who knows? He's got that much quality about him. All right, next one is one of the co-captains this year anyway, Luke McDonald. So I've gone Sal with him, 14.1 disposals per game. I expect that to probably be around the mark. He will get a game. There's no doubt about that. But, he's not going to be – he's never been a big possession sort of player, but it has regressed a lot in the last 12 months. I think he's gone down from 18 to 14 within 12 months. He averaged 20, 21, when he won a best and fairest during the COVID years. 4.5 intercepts per game. He's generally a good intercept player, and he will go for it. So I expect that to stay around the mark. 84.8 disposal efficiency. That'll probably drop down. I think he's more of a high 70s player, but look, 84.8, you definitely take that if you can get somewhere close to that. And 3.5 1%ers per game last year. So he's going to do that. He's going to do the team things. So that'll probably even go up. So look, disposals per game, I expect that to be about 12, 13 this year, to be honest with you. Intercepts will probably be around the mark, but disposal efficiency will drop down. I've gone sell, but it's a hard sell. So it could easily be a buy for him because he will get a game, despite all the critics he does have. Jai Simpkin. So this one's a definite buy for me. I expect a big bounce back next year because he is going to play predominantly as a midfielder. The club already come in and said that. We're not going to stuff around with him this year. He's going to be straight in the guts, be a leader there. So 21 disposals per game was one of his lows for a number of years. That'll go back up. 4.1 clearances per game. So that'll probably go up as well, especially if he's going to play as a full-time mid. 3.1 tackles per game. That'll go up. And 4.5 score involvements per game. That'll probably be around the mark. 4.5 is quite good. So I expect, that's an easy buy for me. I think his stock has dropped from last year, so it's an easy buy that he'll get back up to the level he was in 2022 and before that. Darcy Tucker. I'm going to go games played as one of them. So I've got to sell with him because he probably exceeded the games played that I would expect, especially early in the year when he's playing wing. He's getting about 7 or 8 touches a game. But when he went in the back half, I'll give him his credit. I was probably his biggest critic for the first half of the yeyear. But when he went in the back half, he was actually quite solid. Got 2 or 3 games there where he got career highs in disposals. Was a good user of ball. He did nothing wrong. But I've gone sell because 23 games played. I expect that to be a little bit lower this year. I think we're getting more depth coming through. Riley Hardeman looks really good. You're going to have players like Miller Bergman. Caleb Daniel has come into the club as well. Luke McDonald. So I expect him to almost be on the fringes of being out of the team. So 17.4 disposals per game. I expect that to drop a fair whack, to be honest with you. So, he might get a few sub games in there as well. So that'll drop down. 78.1% disposal efficiency. That's actually not too bad. This is actually hard for him because I don't know what his position is going to be next year. So I've gone based on the fact that he probably will play in the back half. So 78 point. That's actually not bad. He's quite reliable with his field kicking. He doesn't do anything too flashy. He would just do a chip pass 20, 30 metres to a target, whether it's sideways, backwards. He's not going to do anything that doesn't meet his limitations, if that makes sense. 3 tackles per game. So, you probably have to think that'll even drop as well. So I expect to sell for him. Dylan Stephens, next one. So I've gone sell with him because he's another player that's on the fringes. So if you are on the fringes of what I believe you'll be of next year, I've gone sell with Dylan Stephens as well because he played 16 games last year. A few as a sub, probably 3, I think it was. I think he'll be on the outer a little bit this year, at least to start with. There's going to be a lot more players going for his position. 12.8 disposals per game. I expect that to even be lower next year, to be honest with you. As you can see, I'll probably not writing him off, but I think he's going to be not in the team to start with anyway. 263 metres gained per game, so I expect that to be lower, and 2.3 score involvements. Generally, he's quite a good user of the ball. So when he does kick it inside 50, he's quite reliable. He will hit targets. So, that'll probably be around the mark. It's just I expect him to only play probably half a year where he'd be in and out of the team. So that's an easy sell for me. Zach Vischer, another player that I've gone sell. So he played 18 games last year, had a bit of an injury concern, got dropped to... No, not dropped. He did play a VFL game, but he did play as a sub for one game. 24.1 disposals per game. That's an easy one. That'll regress back. I don't think he can play in the back line next year with Caleb Daniel. I think it's just too small. I don't think he can play both of them together. 77.8 disposal efficiency. Percent disposal efficiency, I should say. It'll probably be around the mark. It might even drop down a bit if he's not playing the back half. And 2.4 scoring miles a game, which is actually all right for a defender. So he wasn't involved with it in a few chains. But, that could go either way depending on what position he plays. But I expect, less games next year. I think he's another player that I think he'll be a good sub because he will add a lot of pace when the game gets a bit tied in the second half, particularly the last quarter. And he can play a number of roles, whether it's a rebound defender, a small forward, where he made his career pretty much, or he can even push up through the midfield on the wing or in the guts. But I don't expect him to attend one set of bouts, to be honest with you, next year. Okay, Riley Hardeman. This one's an easy one. I think I've got him in my version 1 round. Version 1 team, best 23. I've got him on a half-back flank. Looking pretty good in pre-season from all reports. His body looks like it's filled out. He's looking very fit and toned. Good user of football too, from the limited games I did see him play. So he only played 3 games last year. That'll definitely go up. 10 disposals per game, so that'll go up. 76.7% disposal efficiency. That'll go up. and 174.3 metres going. So that's an easy, that'll go up as well. So that's an easy buy for me. Oh, excuse me. So next one is a little bit tricky. Will Dawson. So I've gone sell. So he only played the 3 games, Nick, last year in his first year. I think it'll be around the mark as well. I know people are frothing that he's bulked up and he's looking, great. And, he showed signs last year. But I just don't know who he's going to replace, especially if they're fully fit. I think he's a defender. We've got low core, Comben. I'll talk more about Comben in a minute, but you've got Callum Dawson's quite a solid defender. He's probably behind those 4. There's a case for Toby Pink as well, maybe being in front of him. So, Matt Whitlock, who knows? Who knows what he could be and who knows what position he'll play. So I've got him, look, he might get a couple of games, but, there's nothing wrong with a young developing player, especially key position, spending the whole year in the VFL and developing there, working with coaches there, Tom Lynch, whoever else we've got there. So I've got no problem with him playing less games. If he plays 1 or 2 games, that's fine. If he plays 0 games, that's fine. If he plays more than 3, fantastic. But at the moment, I've got him less games than that. 5.3 disposals per game. So obviously, that could, if he does play, there's probably a chance he probably gets more than that. 2.3 intercepts per game. Look, it depends what position he plays. He could play as a forward. They trialled him as that in the VFL and in the AFL till he did his shoulder. And that's another thing. He's got to fill out a little bit more. He's only 19 years old. I know he's put in 13 kilos of muscle, but he's still got a long way to go there. And 4.31 percenters per game as well. That'll probably, if he does play, that seems quite high for a key defender. I expect that to be a little bit lower. So I've gone sell with Will Dawson, but a lot of people will be saying, "Oh, you've got to be joking! Like he's going to be in a round 1 team next year." But I can't see it at the moment. Next one is Griffin Logue. So I've gone buy with him. Now it's a very low floor at the moment. So I've gone with him. I've gone with his career stats because he only played 2 games last year. He's going to play more than that. So over his career, he's averaged 5.2 intercepts per game. If he plays backline, he'll be he's a very good intercept player. Whether it's spoiling, marking, he reads the ball pretty well in the air. 5.51 percenters, that'll go up as well. And 78.8% disposal efficiency. Generally, he's not bad with his left foot. He did have that shocker against Carlton. I remember the second time we played him, where I think he was trying to pass to Jackson Archer 15 metres away from the goal square and missed him and cost us a goal. But, generally he is pretty good at his disposal and will hit targets. We'll move forward to a couple of forwards here. So Nick Larkey, I've gone buy. Now, he kicked 46 goals last year, just averaged over 2 goals per game. If we're going to show improvement, I expect him to get 50 plus again. The year before, he averaged, he kicked 60 odd, didn't he? 61. Got an All-Australian team. So, I expect him to be, around 50 plus. Like, that's just over 2 goals a game. Hopefully Jack Darling can make a difference there, but I've got my skepticism over him, which I'll talk about soon as well. 4.3 marks per game. I think they're going to try. Look, he's going to play predominantly as a full forward, but they will try and push him up the ground again. Trial it, just for a bit of a different dynamic up forward. We can't just have him by himself. I think he'll average more than 4.3 marks. He said in an interview with the club that he wants to get better at his contest work and take the odd contested mark, because we've seen him. Last year, how often did he get pushed under the ball far too easy and get outmarked by his opponents? So that's something he's really working on. So hopefully he can improve that. So I expect that to go up. 4.6 scoring involvements a game. Yeah, look, that's pretty good for a full forward to have that many. But, it should be around 4.5, 5. And 0.3 goal assist per game. It would be nice to get it to about half a goal assist a game. If you get that, that's fantastic. If he kicks 50 goals, gets half a goal assist a game, that's an extra 25 goals. you get 5 score involvements. That's pretty good. So I expect, a really firm buy with Nick Larkey. A big bounce back year for him, although he wasn't that bad last year. So we've got CCJ. So overall, not much, only 3 games. Didn't kick a goal last year, so I expect that to go up. I expect him to get a game probably second half of the year. That's when he will come back from the Achilles and be fully fit. I think he'll be close. I did read somewhere he's coming back full train around Feb. So, look, he's not going to, Feb or March. I'm not even too sure. So, yeah, look, he struggled last year in the 3 games he did play. I'll go for his career, 3 marks per game. So I expect that to increase. Who knows? The break might have done him a world of good. 8 kickouts per game. I think it was might be his career as well. So I expect that to get increased. It might have done him a world of good. Who knows? He might come back a completely different player. He looked shot for confidence last year. The pressure's off him a little bit now. We're not expecting big things from him now. So maybe that might help. I expect a little bit of a bounce back this year. I know Achilles are a very tricky injury. It's been a career enders for a lot of players. But this day and age, with how sports science is, I think he can bounce back. And he's never been a bloke that's going to rely on his pace and taking off quick off the mark. He's going to rely a little bit on his big frame. He's just got to use that a little bit better around the ground and up forward. So I expected a buy. Now, a lot of people say, no, he's cooked. But, no, I think he'll bounce back. So we'll go back to the midfield now. Tom Powell. So I've gone Sal. Now, I know Sting or whoever it is on X, Steve Borden, will probably get on my back here. But 20.1 disposals per game. I don't think he's going to play midfield next year. If he does, it's not going to be much. He's going to be a bit of a licorice all sorts, filling number, just filling it, a little bit everywhere. Like I think he'll have spells where he play half back. He'll have spells where he'll play half forward, midfield, and so forth. There might be spells where he just sits in the forward pocket or something like that. So I expect his disposals per game to drop down. So 4.2 tackles per game. If he's not in the guts, then his tackles are going to drop down. I've got something else here. 4 CPGs. I don't even know what that is. Clearances per game. Sorry. That's obviously going to drop. And 4 scoring involvements per game. Look, depending on where he plays, that might stay the same. But the other 3 out of 4 will definitely drop. So, I mean, he might be more effective depending on what position he plays if he gets less disposals, but he's a quality player. But at the moment, we've just got too many midfielders. So he's getting squeezed out. We'll go back to a small forward, Paul Curtis. Now, this is going to be a controversial one, and I'm sure people will get on my back here. So I've gone 30 goals. I think he'll kick more goals than that. To be honest with you. I think he could get up to 35 next year. Would be a really good return. 1.5 tackles inside 50 last year. That's actually quite good. I think it was a team high. So I expect that to probably drop down a little bit. If we've got other players that can do that sort of work, like Geordie Payne, Jack Darling, a number of others, then, that probably drops down a little bit. 0.6 goal assists per game. I'd like it to stay the same, but it'll be about 0.4, 5.6, which is quite good still. You get that into 35 goals in 20 games, let's say, then that's the equivalent of 45 goals. So that he's been involved in. So that'll be a great return still. And 4.9 score involvements per game. Hopefully that stays around the same. So that's a bit of a hard sell. But, look, he won't be far off, that, I should say. So, that was probably one of the tougher ones. This is taking a little bit longer. So, Luke Parker, this is an easy buy for me. Was in and out of the team. He was out of the team for the first half of the year. His first game was against us when they absolutely slaughtered us, where he came on as a sub and absolutely dominated. So 14.1 disposals per game. That'll go back up. He's going to play midfield, half forward. That's going to be his role. So he's going to rotate through there. 66.7% disposal efficiency. He's quite a good user of the ball. So that's quite low. 14 goals he kicked last year, 1.4 goals per game. That might drop down a little bit, but doesn't matter. And 3.9 scoring involvements per game. That'll go back up. He's going to be, if he's going to get more possessions, then his scoring results are going to go up. So, yeah, I'm definitely excited to have him at the club. That's for sure. Luke Parker, Miller Bergman. I've gone by, but this could go an easy sell. So I think he's on the fringes, probably on the outer at the moment. So he only played 3 games last year. Had a few injury concerns, gets the odd soft tissue injury. His body still concerns, but he seems very raw. Doesn't have that elite skill as well. He's not overly quick. He's good. He's a good kick, like a good penetrating kick. Kick a ball a long way, pretty similar to Miles Bergman. But outside of that, he's not a very good one-on-one player. He does miss the odd tackle, so that's what concerns me about him. 7.3 disposals per game. So I've gone by. So I expect him to play more than 3 games. I expect him to get more than 7.3 disposals per game. I expect him to average more than 116.3 metres per game and 3 intercepts per game, which is actually all right for a mid-sized defender. Sorry, I just thought I'd have a drink there. Try and clear up the throat a bit. All right, Jack Darling. I've gone Sal. I'm not overly high on him, to be honest with you. His career regressed a lot last year. So he averaged 1.1 goals per game. Kicked 22 in 20 games last year. There's a strong possibility he could be washed. But the club are behind him, and I'm hoping I'm wrong. To be honest with you, I'm really hoping I'm wrong. I've gone less goals than that. 3.4 scoring involvements per game. Yeah, I think that'll even drop. 1.4 tackles inside 50 per game. So similar to Paul Curtis, that'll probably drop. I think he's just too slow here. And 0.3 goals, assists per game. So, look, he doesn't have a high bar to pass, but I just think he's done, to be honest with you. That's a harsh criticism, but yeah, from what I've seen last year, outside of the game he played against us, and we always seem to get recruits that play well against us, he looked pretty poor in the other couple of games. I went and watched him against Melbourne. I went with my son because he's a Melbourne supporter. I think it was the week before Adam Simpson, they got rid of him. And he didn't look great there. And there was a couple other games I watched him throughout the course of the year. I just watched West Coast in general, just to watch Harley Reid, and he didn't look involved at all. And I know he says, I was mentoring Jake Waterman and Oscar Allen and a couple other key forwards. So, I had to take a step back, but who doesn't say it? They're not going to say, yeah, no, I think I've finished or anything like that. So I'm not overly high on him. I expect either Charlie Comben or Finbar Malley to come into the team and probably take his spot within a few rounds. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong. So Will Phillips, I've gone Sal as well. So 11 games played last year. I just don't know how he's going to get a game. We've got so many midfielders, so many. I think Luke Parker even mentioned about 6 or 7 names that can go through there. He's one of them. You got LDU, Sheasel, Wardlaw, Luke Parker, Colby McKercher. I'm sure I'm missing others. So, yeah, I think he's on the fringes in and out of the team, but I expect him to play less than 11 games. The club don't have a full amount of confidence in him either because, I only offer him a 1-year contract. You couldn't offer him any more, to be honest with you, from what you've seen. But that's not his fault. I just don't think he's going to get the opportunity. 14 disposals per game. There's going to be a few sub games in there, so that'll probably be less. 5 tackles per game. That's actually, look, he's a good, hard, tough in and under player for a small player. So that'll probably be around the mark when he does play. And 2.3 clearances per game. So, yeah, look, 2 of the 4, I'll say he'll go above. Like tackles per game and the clearances per game, but the other 2 probably be below that. So Charlie Comben. This one was a tough one. because I don't actually know where he's going to play next year. So I've gone 19 games played. I've actually gone by with him, 19 games played. I'm hoping his body is right, like especially soft tissue stuff, where he can get, 21, 22 games next year. So I'm hoping rather than actually fully confident. 83% disposal efficiency. Look, if he plays in the back half, he's generally pretty solid in the back half when he's passing the ball. So I expect that to be around the mark. 1.5 contested marks per game. So if he's going to play forward, look, he does love to crash a pack. He's got a good set of hands. He kicked those 3 goals when he did go forward in that game. I can't remember who he played now. But, everything was a contested mark. So whether he's playing back or forward, that'll probably go up. And I'm going to 1.1 free kicks per game as well that went his way. So, he's good at, going hard at the ball, which means a lot of players will try and spoil and get high contact, and he will get, a few free kicks that way. So I think most of it on games played, you don't know. But, there's a lot of luck involved with that. The other 3, I think you can go above that. So I've gone by Josh Goda. We won't do. There's no point. He played 3 quarters last year, so that's an easy buy. Toby Pink. I've gone sell, and I don't know what position he's going to play next year either. So I've just gone 15 games played last year, just the one category with him, because I think he goes back to defence, but I think he'll be a backup, to be honest with you. I don't think he's good enough as a forward. It's a bit hard when you're playing an ordinary team to play as a forward, but I've gone an easy sell with him. I think he plays a lot less than 15 games next year. I'm hoping he does because, it means other players, better players, have taken his spot. Nothing against Toby Pink. I think he's just limited in what he can do, and he does add, depth as far as key position stocks. Jackson Archer, this one's an easy buy for me. So 16 games played. He seems to have gotten his body right after a couple of frustrating years with him. So I'm hoping that will go up. 9.9 disposals per game. He's definitely getting a lot better with his disposals and becoming a lot more reliable with his disposals. 4.7 intercepts per game. We've seen probably his last 10 games in his career, he's turned into his old man, where you just back himself in and go for the intercept mark. So that'll probably go up to 6 or 7 a game. I think he's a leader at that. And 1.1 turnovers per game. The reason I've gone on that, because his disposal can be a bit funny, I guess. Not so much funny, but it can be a bit hit and miss. And, if he can average less than 1.1 turnovers per game, that'll be a big win as well. But, I expect him to really, have a really good, solid year next year. Probably a best small defender as well. Did some really good jobs last year on some of the best small forwards in the competition. Cooper Harvey, I've just gone sell. NA, not applicable. He didn't play a game last year. He might play a game this year, but I don't know. I can't see him getting a game. We've got too many of the same players, those half forwards. So I think there's a lot of other players. And he was pretty close, I thought. Look, he's probably the last player on the list, to be honest with you. He's pretty close to getting delisted. They didn't give him a contract till very late. And, so I don't expect him to get a game next year, but things can change with injuries. Tristan Sherry, this one's a tough one because I've gone some tough categories. It's going to be hard to replicate next year, but if he can get somewhere towards where he was, geez, it'll be a big win. We've got no problems with the ruck, that's for sure, which if you told me that 12 months ago, this time 12 months ago, I would have been laughing in your face. I said, no, we've got to get Ruckman. But I've gone actually sell. Now, 17.9 disposals per game, that's a lot for Ruckman. I expect that to be, look, if you can get around the mark, that'll be fantastic. 34.5 hit-outs per game. I expect that to go up, actually. I expect him to get almost 38, 40 next year. I'm hoping he can get that high. 7.5 tackles per game. I think he's fourth in the competition. So, yeah, I don't expect a big ruckman. Everyone else is a midfielder in that top 10. So I don't expect a ruckman to get 7.5 tackles per game. If you can, fantastic. And 0.3 goals per game. Now, yeah, beautiful kick for goal. Very rarely misses. Kicked some tough goals last year. So if you can get around that, that'll be really fantastic. But, just took big steps last year, and full credit to him. Really matured as a player and turned into one of the best ruckmen in the competition pretty much overnight as well. So full credit to him. I can't say much more than that. Next one, Eddie Ford. Now, Eddie Ford, I've gone Sal because I just think he's not going to get a game early. 18 games played last year, which is a bit surprising. I thought he played a lot less than that, but yeah, I thought he would have played about 13, 14. A few sub as well, but we've got a lot of half forwards. So he might play 14 to 15 games next year. I don't think the club is as high on him as a lot of supporters are as high on him. Only got the 1 year contract extension. So, yeah, that might be a sign that he's on the fringes a little bit. Anyway, 0.8 goals per game. So, yeah, if he can stay around that, like let's say he plays 15 games, kicks 12 goals. Like he played a few games in the midfield, not on the midfield, on the wing, as well as half forward, pushing up the ground. So, yeah, he might, average a goal a game when he does play, which would be a good effort. Considering he is a little bit versatile, and he will probably play a few games as a sub as well. 0.7 tackles inside 50 per game. You'd like to see that go to 1 if he's going to spend a bit of time up forward. But like I sort of said, he's going to be playing on the wing, have the odd spell inside forward 50. So that if he can stay around that mark, that's pretty solid. And now his deficiency is his pressure. But that's improved a lot. I'll give him credit there. And 3.5 scoring involvements per game, which is quite solid. So, yeah, I expect that to stay around the mark. So, yeah, I've gone Sal because I'm not uncertain of his role next year and where he plays next year. What position. So after that, we go back to the defenders. Callum Dawson. Now, I've gone by here because one of the reasons is I expect Charlie Colman. Now, I'm hearing a lot of rumours that he is going to go forward. So I've gone by. If he goes forward, I think Callum Dawson is a logical replacement for him to go in the back line. Just a solid defender. He's not going to wow you with anything, but I just think he's reliable. A lot more reliable than throwing a young kid into the deep end. He will do a job for your team, and there's nothing wrong with that. 11 games played last year. I expect him to go up a bit. There will be games where he does miss out. 82% disposal efficiency. Generally, players like him, Aiden Core, in that back half, because they would just chip it sideways, the disposal efficiency stays around that mark. 3.5 intercepts per game, so I expect that to go to like 4, 4.5, 5. He was a good intercept player in his VFL year before we drafted him. So, yeah, if he gets more continuity this year in the seniors, then that'll probably go up as well and get a lot more confidence and belief in himself. And 4.41%. Look, he does the 1% pretty well. So that'll be around the mark as well, around 5. So, yeah, I've gone a buy with him. Only a few more to go. So hopefully all you listeners are sticking with it. Hopefully you're enjoying it. You'll have to let me know what you think of it. Bryn Teakle, I've gone Sal. 11 games played last year. Now, that's a pretty good effort. He only played the 1 game in the VFL, a mid-season draft pick. I think it was pick 13. But, yeah, I've gone Sal because I think he's on the fringes. And I think second half of the year, I think Callum Coleman-Jones, I'm still a little bit high on him. Not so much high on him. I think he might surpass him in the pecking order as that second ruckman. 0.8 goals per game. So he's actually quite a solid kick and can take a good contested mark, which I'll talk about in a second as well. So, yeah, that's actually a really good result for makeshift forward. 5.2 hit-outs per game. If he's going to play games, He's got to get those hit-outs up. So I expect that to go up to at least 8 or 9. It might only be 10, 15% game time. But when that ball's in the forward 50 and there's a stoppage, he'll be a ruckman there. And 2.5 marks per game. Look, he's quite a good contested mark. He'll only take contested marks. He won't get the uncontested ones. So if he keeps doing that, three marks per game might be a reasonable outcome for him. But I think he's on the outer, to be honest with you, to start with. I know a lot of people are saying, well, we need a second ruckman for Tristan Sherry. What for? I mean, you can't just play someone to have 10% game time in a ruck. Tristan Sherry can pretty much ruck. He pretty much rucks all game anyway. He'll have the odd spell here and there where he's not there. But for 10% of the game, you can have Jack Darling, you can have Finn Barmelli, you can have Nick Larkey, you can have Charlie Comben. You probably don't want to throw Charlie Comben in there, but you can have anyone. Cameron Zurhaar can go in there, to be honest with you. You don't need a superstar second ruckman for the 10% game time they're going to get there. So I think he's on the outer to start with. But, I don't think his ceiling is that high. I think he's 26 or 25 maybe. So, I don't know if there's much room for growth with him. A lot of other clubs have said, haven't picked him up. I think Port Adelaide had him for a period of time there, and he has had a lot of injuries. I'll give him that. But I don't see his. He's not going to get past Tristan Sherry as number one ruckman, and he's more of a ruckman than a forward. Sort of ruck forward rather than opposite way forward ruck. All right, last couple, Cameron Zurhaar. So I've gone by. Now, he kicked 29 goals last year. He's a player that starts off seasons quite slow, but this is the year. Look, this is the year where he's going to take the bull by the horns. I think he'll go back to 40-plus goals next year. I expect a big improvement like that. 2 goals a game. 14.1 disposals per game. There is talk he's going to play the odd centre bounce in the midfield. They've tried that before. Don't even bother. Just keep them to 450. So I expect disposals per game to be around the mark, 12, 13, 14. 0.6 goal assists per game. That's something he's got to get better at as well. Goal assists, he does some weird stuff on the footy field. He does a spectacular play, doing it all himself. So he's got to get that to 1.5 goal assists per game and 4.6 scoring involvements a game. It's not bad, but that should go up to 5.5 as well. So I expect a big bounce back from Cameron Zurhaar next year, and to turn into that forward we've been waiting on for a number of years. So that's a firm buy for me. Last one is Robert Hansen. So I've gone buy with him. Because there's not. Look, I know Mark Hello has been frothing about him, how good he is. But 6 games played last year. I don't have him in my round one team, but I think he gets more than that. Especially, we don't have a set small forward in that team yet, and he certainly got that opportunity towards the end of last year. 0.7 goals per game last year. So he only kicked, I think it was 4 in 6 games. So I'll hope that he can get 1 goal a game next year. But 0.7, as long as he's doing defensive stuff. But look at this, 0.2 tackles per game. I think he laid 1 tackle inside forward 50 last year, which is not good enough. So that's something he's got to work on. He's a forward half pressure. That's where the game is. That's why I've got Geordie Payne in. It's one of the most important positions on the ground, having that forward half pressure. The good teams have all got them now. The Swans, even Geelong. You look at the top teams. GWS have built a team. They just keep recruiting these small pressuring forwards, and and you sort of see, and you've seen the rewards with them. With that orange tsunami, that they run in waves, but when the ball even gets turned over, they've got those small pressuring forwards that'll just put that forward half pressure on. So. Yeah, he's got to improve on that anyway, getting back to Robert Hansen, and 2.3 scoring involvements. That should go up as well. So let me know if you agree with that. So I'll quickly go through them again. So Harry Sheezel, buy. Aidan Caldwell, sell. Caleb Daniel, buy. George Wardlaw, buy. Zane Dersma, buy. Bailey Scott, buy. LGU, sell. Colin McKercher, buy. Luke McDonald, sell. Jai Simpkin, buy. Darcy Tucker, sell. Dylan Stevens, sell. Zach Fisher, sell. Riley Hardiman, buy. Will Dawson, sell. Griffin Logue, buy. Nick Larkey, buy. Callum Coleman-Jones, buy. Tom Powell, sell. Paul Curtis, sell. Luke Parker, buy. Miller Bergman, buy. Jack Darling, sell. Will Phillips, sell. Charlie Conwood, buy. Josh Goder, buy. Toby Pink, sell. Jackson Archer, buy. Cooper Harvey, sell. Tristan Sherry, sell. Finbar Malley, buy. Eddie Ford, sell. Callan Dawson, buy. Bryn Teakle, sell. Cameron Zerhart, buy. And lastly, Robert Hanson, buy. So a lot of buys there. So I expect that's what happens when you've got a young team. You expect improvement. And generally when players get a little bit older, they do sell, or they don't have a set role in the team. That's for sure. So, yeah, hopefully all you lovely listeners enjoyed that. So that's it for tonight. Hopefully you all liked it. Jump in on the comments when I do tweet it out and let me know what you think of it. I'm going to come back to it probably halfway through the year when the buy comes, and I'll see how I'm going. I've got it all saved in a spreadsheet, so I'll definitely, I'll go back to it anyway. So actually, while I'm here, I did get a couple of questions when I had the mailbag show, and I didn't read them out last time, so I'll go through them now. So Graham King at Glue Park Enigma. So I did it was about 10 days ago, 13th of December. So what are we at, 23rd? So, yeah, sorry I didn't read them out at the time. They didn't come through till late. So do you think the AFLW team winning the flag will have a positive effect on our AFL men's team this year? I don't think it'll have any effect because they've gone in their off-season. I mean, they're quite, the boys really got behind the girls. You've seen a few of the players get behind them during finals, but I don't think it'll have that much of an effect, to be honest with you. When the whips are cracking, like when pre-season comes back January, all the girls are left. So I don't think it will have too much of an effect. But look, any little bit can help if it does come through. But thanks for the question, Graham. And JJ Boom at JJ Boom 67194317. Would Parker be better as an inside midfielder with Sheasel playing more at half forward? Just thinking of the size and bulk issues we have in the middle. I think they'll rotate between the two of them. I think Luke Parker will, definitely have about 12 to 14 CBAs per game, as will Sheasel. So they'll rotate a fair bit. Maybe Parker might get a few more just to get a bit more experience into that midfield. Whereas Sheasel, he can play as a high half forward, and he'll certainly get the ball when he goes into the forward line anyway. So hopefully, all you lovely listeners enjoyed that. I'm not too sure if you did, but you're probably all fallen asleep. I've talked a fair bit of shit in this last hour. So, if you agree with it, definitely leave a comment on X, or if you want to send me a message or anything like that, just let me know and tell me if you disagree with any or if you agree with some of them. So get involved. Anyways, just on a personal note, I hope you all have a great Christmas and New Year's, my wonderful North Melbourne family. I don't know if I'll do another episode before the New Year. There's not much going on. I'll probably try and get someone on for the Getting to Know You episode. I still love doing it, and I love chatting about North Melbourne. And I really enjoyed the episode with Steve Briffa. I really enjoyed getting to know him. So I've got a couple of people lined up for that, but depends if I get them done before the new year comes anyway. But if I don't hear from you, if you don't hear from me by then, hopefully you all have a great Christmas and New Year's. In the new year, I'll definitely be ramping it up. I wouldn't mind getting a few AFLW players back on just to talk about the experience of winning the flag. I'm definitely very interested in that, but it's just a tough time of year to get them on now. But thanks for coming on. Make sure, like, subscribe, and tell your friends about the podcast. I really appreciate it. Just look out for me when the next episode comes. I'll probably tweet on it on X. I might put something on Instagram. I always forget about putting stuff on Instagram. So I might, I'll definitely, let everyone know so I can get you lovely listeners more involved. Anyways, that's it from me. Bye for now, and go Roos.